And yes, folks, welcome to Highway 6 to Africa. It's your girl PETRAA here. Welcome to the show. And I'm not alone. I'm here with my special co-hosts, TyB and Ron Malinga. And also Facile. How you guys doing this week?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm doing fine. Doing super.
Okay, wonderful. And how about you, TyB?
I am doing so good. I can't complain. I am doing so much better right now. Yes. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome. So as you guys can tell, the dynamic of the show this week is a little bit different. You go, PETRAA is here hosting. So thank you, TyB, for the honor. You know what I mean? And as you guys are tuning in, if you're tuning in on the live stream on Love Bay, on StreamYard, on YouTube, you can also see we have a special co-host as well, Facile. So Facile, welcome to Highway 6 to Africa.
Yeah, thank you. It's nice joining you guys.
Yeah, most definitely. Thank you. So for those of the listeners out there who are not familiar with who you are, but I know that obviously you've been on the show before, but can you just share with the listeners a little bit about Facile and, and your song?
Okay. Is that for me or Ron?
That's for you, Facile.
Okay.
That's for you. Just to give the listeners a little bit of an intro. Just tell them.
Okay, so it's
a reminder.
So I'm Facile, musician, songwriter, music lover. These days, I like to call myself that. These days, had a recent single, "Claustrophobic," by myself and Ron Malinga. Great song. Collaboration between Africa and Canada, something we hope the world will get to, listen for a lot of years, and it would also be the beginning of greater things to come in terms of music and African music trends. So lovely having this night with you guys, and I believe it's going to be a lovely session. So that's me once again, Facile.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Facile, for that intro. So guys, so we're doing a bit of a different dynamic for the show this week. So we don't necessarily have a guest, but we are going to be discussing certain trending topics that have caused some activity, in the world in the area of Afrobeat and reggae. So we'll definitely be exploring those topics, and I know each one of us has a topic to discuss. And so I want to start with TyB because I know we spoke before the show, and there's definitely a really great topic that I thought we should definitely speak about because so I don't know if you wanted to go now, TyB, or you wanted to wait to the end.
I think I would like to wait to the end so that I'll be able to say my piece.
Woo-wee. Okay, so if you guys are listening in, you guys want to stick around throughout the show to hear what this topic is going to discuss. So I am going to go to Ron, so we can talk about your topic and touch base on that.
Me, I don't know what Facile had in mind, what you and TyB were talking about this morning, or this afternoon. But TyB and I were talking about some interesting topics this morning, and one of the quotes I have for the day, and I sent it to Facile as well. I send lots of quotes to Facile and likewise backwards to me. And the quote of the day for me is one from a very famous musician. He was from the Beatles. His name's George Harrison. And he said, "I'd rather be a musician than a rock star." And I thought, I can agree with you on that one. Absolutely. I think that lots of us who are musicians are more in love with the art of music and music per se. And I think this is what George is getting at from there. What else was said below the quote I saw? And that is that I love music for the sake of music. And I don't care about the fame or the money that comes with it. What I care about is just knowing music and understanding and enjoying and appreciate it for what it is, rather than looking at it as, oh, I'm going to be famous and that's the reason I'm doing this. I know that everybody won't deny that. But there are many musicians out there where it's the fame that they're interested in. And so I think that, to me, I don't know, I'd rather be infamous and write great music as opposed to just writing okay music and being famous. But, you know, whatever okay and good is each his own. So TyB and I were talking about this, and I brought up a song I heard on the radio this morning called Mr. Blue Sky, and which was by a group called ELO. And when I heard it, I went, well, if anybody has not heard this song, they are going to know the name of this song very quickly, because how many times does he say Mr. Blue Sky in it? Probably about 20 times.
Wow.
When I heard that, this lead singer is Jeff Lynne. He has a fabulous orchestra at ELO. They're going on tour again. And when I heard it, I thought, this is a no-brainer. I wish more people would understand that when you have something like a chorus, you repeat. It's just one of those things, and I could talk about this for a while. However, I will cut myself off right there just because I want to give others people time to talk about things. And that's just one of the things I'm going through lately, is figuring out why people write songs and they're not repeating the title or the track, the verse. There's a very famous song called Taking It to the Streets. At one point in the chorus, towards the end, they sing it 8 times. I think by that time you'd know that the song is called Taking It to the Streets. So it's just one of those things I'm seeing and hearing less of in music today.
May I jump in? I think maybe from where I said, I think the reason why they repeat it is that, you see, now you're talking about the fact that it's a great song, and they repeated it and repeated it. So I think it's an eye catcher or ear catcher, so that they will be able to say, okay, run. The moment they say run, it gets stuck in your mind, in your brain.
Yeah.
And then whether you like it or not, it's just like I quite remember in Montreal back in the day, there was a DJ, Ralph Lockwood. I will never forget this guy, a very good DJ on CFR, CJ80, I believe. Yes, what he used to do was to play one song. If you're going to release an album, just one track, you play it for the 2-hour duration. No other song, just that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he became so popular, a lot of artists went to him, and he had a lot of humor that went with it. So I think it's a strategy where songwriters are concerned these days. I think I've been seeing a little bit of that, because I'm from that kind of school of thought. I mean, writing, I like repeating certain things, before you sit down to pen it, you know exactly where you're going. So I think to answer your question, I think it's a marketing strategy. I may be wrong, but then that's what I think.
Yeah, I hope so.
You hope he's wrong.
Fasil, go ahead.
Okay, so if I'm to respond to Ron's observation, I would say most artists feel creativity means a lot of lyrics. So when it comes to repetition, it looks like they're not creative enough. It looks like the same thing over and over. So they don't have more verses to put out. They don't have more wordings to put out. But at the end of the day, it's entertainment. So why put out a piece that doesn't catch on to people, Why put on a piece that's easily forgotten? You could be very lyrical. I think, no shade, but the reason rap music might not be as big as it might have been back in the days is because there's lots of other genres in our faces that have more repetition. Rap music is usually very long verses back in the days, it would be like 3 long verses, maybe 2 choruses. You understand? Maybe the chorus is just repeated twice at the end. So it wouldn't be easy to remember, except there's a lot of those choruses coming in after the verses. So I think most people feel it kills their creative level. I used to be a rapper back in the day. So even when we write verses, a rapper that writes a 16 bars and the last 2 bars are like him saying, I used to love girls. Yeah, I used to love girls. Repeating that looks like you're not creative. You understand my point? Repeating that looks like you ran out of lyrics. So many people come with that mindset when they're making music at large. They feel if this chorus comes every now and then, it seems I'm not good enough. And most people have been criticized for, mostly in Nigeria. I remember at some point where Wizkid had lots of songs that were in our faces. The reason those songs were in our faces were because there was lots of similar things being said, which I would say a hook being repeated overly, not necessarily a chorus, but a hook being repeated overly. And that's because the production style, which most people still do today, was more of an artist going into the studio, freestyling, and the producer picking out the best parts of the freestyle and looping them. You understand? So you get to listen to the most lovely part of the freestyle over and over. That automatically becomes the hook to us listening. It might have not been the hook to the artist when he was freestyling, but at the end of the day, it catches up on us because we hear that over and over, and you're like, this song sucks, but you're singing it because it's caught on to you. So I think artists should be able to, should at some point be able to, you know, have a balance where you can entertain people and you can still maintain creativity, not necessarily feeling that you're saying the same thing over and over again. So that's my 2 piece on that. Make any sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Because my point is kind of like, it kind of like piggybacks off yours in relation to why I feel like there's less repetition in music, you know, in the sense that, like, just like you, because I'm a songwriter, it's pretty much, you show your skill more nowadays. I feel the more complex your verse is, you know, more complex the song is, you know what I mean? Especially when you gave the example with like hip hop music of nowadays. Back in say like the 80s, early 90s, it was a lot more catchy, right? Where now it's more like, how long can your verse be? Sometimes you'll hear like one song is an entire verse, you know what I'm saying? And there's hardly any repetition, maybe like a few punchlines here and there, but that's as far as it's gonna go, you know? But just to kind of circle back also to what you're saying and what Ron's saying, in relation to, I think there should be more repetition, because I think it makes the music a lot more enjoyable. You know, like if we think about the songs that we remember, a lot of those songs are like repetitious songs, you know, catchy songs. They're easier to remember, you know? So like, honestly, even now I think of YMCA. I can't stop thinking, you know, it was
good example.
Phrases over and over, you know what I'm saying? And I'm from England, so I could
exactly
easy music, you know what I'm saying?
My point. There's my point.
Exactly. You know, so I think music is just it's a living, breathing thing. It's energy, right? It's continuously evolving. So it's just gonna figure itself out. You know, I think we're gonna go through a phase where music is very repetitious to a point where it's very complex, to then maybe eventually finding somewhere in the middle, you know, or it's going to continue to fluctuate like the stock market. You know what I mean? It's just, that's how it is, you know? So, but it's really good that you brought that to our attention, because anyone listening out there that's a songwriter, you know, that's constructing a song or even constructing a beat, you know, to put that level of repetition in there is good, because also to go back to the point that somebody mentioned about marketing, you know, like it can be used as a tool for marketing. You know, that's why you hear like, you know, music in commercials, you know, and certain things are repeated, and that's how we continue to remember them. So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, it's all about memory. It's to keep it in you, so that, because if you're on the radio, you have one chance for people to hear a song, and if they don't remember it after the first time, well, the song won't get played again, or you won't remember what to buy. So it's just repetition. One guy said that all the time. He says it on Instagram. Repetition. Repeat. And he says, sing the same melody twice. Who cares?
Yeah.
They need to. You'll have people that need to remember the song, and how will they remember it if they don't hear it again and again and again? And it's like you play it to me once, and I might remember. Play it to me twice, I start to remember. Play it to me 3 times, and I think I have it in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
TyB. Sorry, I'm very passionate about this.
Yeah. Mostly.
Yeah, I think in most if you go back to listen to most African music from Fela, Sonny Ade, and all the other giants, and Manu Dibango these days, Makosa, Makosa, it's Makosa, 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 and it became a hit.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think it's a strategy, but when they were doing it, they never knew that it was a marketing tool. And I
Mm-hmm.
think
It's just
these
energy.
guys are the Electric Light Orchestra, ELO, one of my favorite groups of all times.
Oh, Yellow,
I
yeah.
think yes, I think they are the people you are referring to, right, Ron?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yellow.
experience. I think they are using their experience. You see, now we're talking about them. They've been gone out of the system for how many years? Over 30 years right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because of what they've done, now today we are talking about them. So I think it's a marketing strategy that was there, but now they feel like, well, a musician is always a musician. We can never leave our craft. We don't retire. No musician retires. So I think they are back to get noted that, hey, we are still here. And so let us throw one of our stuff in there and see whether it will stick. And now it's stuck. Right now, we're talking about that.
And they want to make their millions. You go on tour. That's where you make your money.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Officer, you wanted to say something?
No, not really.
Mm-hmm.
Except you insist I add to that.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So Petra mentioned marketing and like commercials. You know, the truth is it'll be difficult to have songs that are not memorable on commercials. So I would just say that even aside entertaining people, good music, memorable music, catchy music goes on to, you know, extend into other industries like business and all that, you know, where even normal people living normal lives, their day-to-day lives, aside them having to, you know, put on the radio or go on any of this digital platforms to listen to your music via commercials, they could also enjoy your songwriting. They could also enjoy the artistry. So I think one should look at this creative process a lot larger than just making music for, you know, people on platforms to listen. You know, it could extend from just people on platforms to TV, you know, commercials and all that. And even these days where you have a lot of content, you know, on the internet, people would only want to use what appeals to them, what is a lot memorable to them for their content. So I think songwriters should do better as to identifying the core value, you know, of their music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Most definitely. No, I totally agree with you in that sense, Fasil. I feel like it is great what you said. Like, I feel like artists should be looked at as more than just entertainers. And if you think about a lot of the greats in music, you know, I think we look at them as more than entertainers. You know, we look at them as leaders. You know, mentors, people who inspire. You know, and I think it's because of the context of the thing that they sing about, right? So,
Yeah.
if you can add certain techniques in there whereby you're speaking about things that people can connect with, you know, that's the social aspect,
Yeah.
and then you do it in a way that, you know, is catchy. You add some repetition in there, you know what I mean? And obviously you're very good at what you do, then you'll have a hit. And I feel like a lot of the greats that have done that. I think I can't really say a lot of them because I think how they made music back in the day was very intricate. It was a process. It wasn't like cookie cutter and fast. But I'd like to believe that a lot of them did that unconsciously. It wasn't a strategy like cooked up by a record label. You know, okay, so sing this, this amount of times, and you know what I'm saying, is it wasn't constructed that way. When you look at the greats like a Bob Marley or a Lucky Dube, you know what I mean, like they just made music, and they just made music that connected to people and uplifted them, and that's why even after the gone, like the great, like Tupac, like all after the greats are gone, we still connect to their music, because I feel like you have elements of the things that we discussed, So.
Yeah, I Shot the Sheriff. How many times did he sing that in the song? In his big hit, I Shot the Sheriff. I mean, I don't know how many times he sings that in there, and he gets the point across that this is the title of my song, and I'm going to tell you about shooting the sheriff. So it's just a point with Bob Marley. He did it too. You're right. And the question I have,
No Woman No Cry too. That comes to mind too. No Woman No Cry is like,
yeah. It brings me to the point as to why, according to Spotify, why most listeners on Spotify, about 85% or so, are listening stuff more from the 70s and the 80s than they are listening to anything that's coming out new. About 85% of the audience is turning on the 70s and the 80s instead. Question is, why?
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, can I
Big
just
question.
interject? No, go ahead. Do you want to say something, Fasil?
Nah, big question. I just said big questions.
Yeah,
big question needs big answers.
Yeah, because I thought about that too. Because even me, like I still resonate to Motown. Motown is like my all-time go-to era. And then I'm an 80s baby, so I love me like 80s music. I love me some Luther Vandross. You know what I mean? Like honestly, I love that era of music. But I connect with more for energy, and I feel like it's a lot more easier to relate to. Like that music, I feel, is timeless. Where music that I feel is created today is some of it, a large majority, is only for today. I feel like some of the music that's created today, we're not going to play that music in like 10, 20, 30, 50 years from now. Like, we're not. You know what I'm saying? So it's really just, and I feel like the industry now, I feel like just the market generally is very overly saturated. And I guess it has its pros and its cons because so much more people are being given the ability to make music, which I think is phenomenal, But I feel like at the same time, it's like certain messages are not being given the opportunity to come through because of industry standards, If you're not singing about a particular thing or you're not presented in a particular way, then your beliefs, mindset, style of music may not be pushed to the forefront. You know what I mean? Which is unfortunate because there's so many different types of music, even outside of the genres that we know, that can definitely touch people and uplift them. A lot of cultural indigenous music that a lot of people, especially young people, are not getting the opportunity to connect with because that's not the norm. Like I want to shout out Malt Martin. I am such a huge fan of the handpan. I don't know why, but this year I'm gravitating towards the handpan, and I love handpan all day, every day. Handpan music, you know what I mean? But I found that just by accident. But you don't often hear handpan on the mainstream. But it's a genre and a style of music that is very, is very soothing, very uplifting. So that should be given the opportunity. So I know, feel free to jump in with any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think sometimes personally is that I think a lot of too much of today's music, you put it well, is copy and paste. I'm hearing too many times where vocals are, just as an example, vocals where they copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. And I'm thinking, well, think about the 70s and 80s. They couldn't do that then, or, it just wasn't happening. So they had to record everything right from front to back. And if it didn't work, well, they would be saying, can we do that section over again? Can we do that over again? Let's do it over again. And that's just part of making, and that brings in small little things that'll change the song because you can't sound identical every single time. So I think that's one of the human factors that we're not seeing as much as we used to. That's just an observation I make. It's copy, paste, copy, paste. That's what people are using on their DAWs. I mean, the digital audio workstations, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. And I don't know. To me, that sort of loses a little bit of feel because sometimes as a song goes on, it's supposed to get more exciting towards the end. And if you copy paste, the song sounds exactly the same from front to back. Observation only.
Exactly.
If I'm to add to that, I feel there was more of talent back in the days compared to today. No shades, but there's talent, there's creativity. The fact that people learn a process and they can get creative at that process doesn't necessarily mean they're talented. You could come learn how to make beats and record vocals with me, and you start recording vocals and making beats, and possibly you record vocals for a great artist. It doesn't necessarily pass on as talent. It's a skill you've learned over time. So you're just focused on what you learned. You know, the how they put it, the practical aspect, not necessarily the theory. So what I would say is, back in the day, there was more talent. You had to be the best in probably your entire city, you know, to come out. And it took a lot because there would be a lot of rehearsals back then compared to now. Now there really aren't rehearsals. So I would even say, if I'm coining this back to the lack of repetitions in songs, it's because there's little or no rehearsals today before people go to the studio to make a song. I would say if you had to rehearse for 2 months, go to several places and sing, and everyone had to listen to you guys singing a whole lot without good hooks, they would, boo you out of the stage, and you feel that's not a good song to record. So I'm just saying the processes back then was more, it was people really grinding to ensure, that what they put out is going to be felt. And I like to add, there was more soul back then. Now it seems too robotic. It seems too robotic now. It seems like if you stab a knife there's no blood. It's just going to be, sparks and explosions. So there's no soul today. That's why it can be evergreen, but there's a vibe to it. So it's that vibration we run with, but the vibration has a time span. Petra mentioned 5 to 10 years. That's too much. As a Nigerian, I'm not going to remember so many Nigerian songs after 6 months. Like, once they leave popular platforms like TikTok and the rest, I'm not going to remember them. Why? It's because what eventually made me even catch on to them was lane. You understand? It didn't feed on my soul, and I couldn't feed on it as well. So there needs to be that connection. And today's music, it's got less soul.
Well said. I agree. You're spot on. I think, Vasil. I can't. Yeah. The soul. I think that's what what we're many times missing. And Petra, you refer to Motown. Soul, man. We're talking soul.
You can feel the music.
Yeah, it had something that you could relate to, and it just felt more down to earth, human like. So than it does today. That's no criticism of artists that are doing well today. It's just saying that what I'm used to hearing is big groups that were just had the, as Vasil saying, just that feel to them, and they had to practice lots. Yeah. I don't even know if people know what a rehearsal is or practicing is. That's needed.
Yeah. Can I interject you? Because can I just say something too, if you don't mind? Because it kind of goes back to the point that you mentioned at the beginning of the call, right? I feel like a lot of people don't know why they're doing music anymore. I think a lot of people nowadays do music from a vanity standpoint, and they don't do it from like a spiritual or like a different standpoint, like an upliftment standpoint, or a way to kind of get the message out there. I think that is what is distorted. And I think it's also at the fault of the major corporations too, right? Like, they totally wiped out the artist development. So it's like you have to come already like cookie cutter ready made, right? So everybody fast tracks that just to get to the point where they can sign this deal and make the money and do the shows. So they're missing out on that. You know what I mean? Like, you need that time to be developed. Think about how long it takes when you plant a seed. You don't plant a seed and the next day you have tomatoes or potatoes. You know what I mean? There's a process. with everything. And I think with music, they're taking that out and foregoing that because they're just focused on money, you know, and money can't be the only reason to make music. You know, obviously you can make music and obviously generate revenue so you can live that life, right? But it has to be more than that. And when I look back at, say, music for the 60s, 70s, 80s, for me, I felt like those artists, they lived it, you know, like they lived it, like what they spoke about, they lived. And even the ones that didn't write those songs, they connected to the music, you know, they took time to fall in love with the song, know the song. You know, it became their own, it became them. I feel like nowadays people just want to do this song, promote it, get it out there to get onto the next, to push it out, promote it. It's like McDonald's, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like with music, you know.
Spot on.
So, and that in that case, and it's like nothing to take with McDonald's food because I eat it sometimes, but not often, to be honest. I actually am gravitating more towards cooked food now. Like I eat more cooked food now than processed food. And it's the same with music. Like, you know, I don't really like to listen to too much processed music. Like today, most of the time, it's just hand pan music because it's an instrument and it's a pure sound, you know? So at the end of the day, it literally is what a person wants from the music. But at the same time, I feel like if we continue on the trajectory that we're going, which is taking like the soul out of the music or not even acknowledging the soul needs to be in the music, then I don't know what the state of the music industry is going to be moving forward. And for me, that's across all genres. That's not even just to say Afrobeat or reggae. That's all genres. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But the hand-panned artist, you can tell that he has practiced lots. He is so, if it's one I'm thinking of, man, you can tell that guy has.
Yeah. He's in like, I think, Sweden. I think he's Swedish.
Oh.
Phenomenal.
Oh, unreal. You can see. And see, this is the thing that, once again, that I've mentioned many times before in the past, is that what we're seeing, unfortunately, is lots of children not getting the chance today to learn instruments, to go to school, to learn music, to play in a band or concert band or whatever it is. They're just not getting that opportunity to play and learn instruments. They're learning how to work computers really well. But computerized music isn't the same as ones where people actually play. And all one has to do is listen to Carlos Santana on guitar, and you just hear the guitar, the feel of his, that he just hits the notes right spot on. They're so beautiful, they sound wonderful, and you kind of go, no, that's nice that this guy's been able to play for this many years. But look, you know, you're not going to become a superstar musician in a year or two. It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
Though I see so many people trying to.
Yes. And you are listening to Love the Afrobeat Music Talk Radio Highway 6 to Africa. Today we are discussing friends in music. Now we have as our guest host today, Fasil, all the way in Nigeria, the claustrophobic man. Yes, we are discussing lots of stuff, great topics today. Petra, if I may indulge you.
Sure.
My favorite topic would be AI. And among the three of you, how is AI affecting the music industry?
I knew you were going to ask this today. I thought about it.
Let me read something that I came onto mind. It says AI technology can be used to create new music genres. It can also be used to analyze and remix existing tracks in creative ways. While these developments are exciting, they also raise important questions about the role of AI in music creation and production.
I have a question for you two, and that is, to add to that, if you know a song is written on AI and it sounds like a good song, are you going to stop listening to it just because it's AI?
I don't think I've heard any music that has that is AI created. Maybe there's something that Fasil, have you heard anything like that?
Ron. I guess Ron has an angle. Yeah. You could use AI to make great songs, but I think as a great artist, every form of technology that comes into play should be seen as a learning curve and positive competition. So if I were to make use of AI, what I would do is ensure, I get as smart as it is, I get as fluent as it is, I get as smooth as it is. So I'm just saying, the fact that AI isn't necessarily human, but you could use it to create content, audio content that people could tend to love, is best as an artist or a creative person to try to improve or upgrade your personal skills, whatever you do, singing, songwriting, to that point. So I'll deviate a bit from music. Let's say you're into making adverts, and whenever you want to make TV commercials, you need a script. Yeah, you need a script for a TV commercial. That's what the people on set would get to learn and do whatever, the acting, the camera recordings, and all that. So let's say you need a script, and there's AI today, and AI makes you write a script faster. I think a smart person should be able to work with AI for a bit and become that AI, because it's artificial, but there's intelligence there. So what makes you not catch on to learning from this? If the AI makes you have better words that you wouldn't use if you were just going to write to yourself, I think it should be a learning curve where you get better at what you do, even if AI isn't available anymore, but because you've used it to a certain point, you can get better at it. So if it comes back to music, I would just say, in as much as AI in general has been used to make things easier, faster, facilitate the process of, any project, it's best you learn to get better as a person, because we don't know what's coming next. So that's what I'd say. It should be a learning curve, for everyone.
Good point.
And do you think anyone of you think AI will replace musicians?
It wouldn't.
Now, let me read something.
Your face.
Petra, let me read something before. Sorry.
No, it was never happening.
It says,
Ron wouldn't let that happen.
Oh, yeah. Ron to the rescue. Ron's like, no.
hold on. It says, but you shouldn't worry too much about that becoming a reality, says Joel Berkerman, an award-winning television and film producer and co-founder of Made Music Studio. And he says, and I quote, "There's no way for the foreseeable future that AI will completely replace composers." He tells CNBC, "Make it." And there are a couple of reasons why. And he doesn't give the reasons why.
Wow.
He doesn't give the reasons why?
No.
Popular R&B producer, artist, TyB, I think recently, some months ago, he partnered with an app, where all you have to do is say, I'm heartbroken, and it gives you a complete song that sounds exactly like TyB, proper auto tunes, nice melodies and all that. So you just have to speak to it, just a sentence of how you feel, and it gives you a complete song, and it's big, it's been selling, but it's not going to take over. I don't think. I think it's just going to be a trend. Because you mentioned something about being drawn to music from back in the days compared to music from today. So the only way it's going to take over is if they completely exterminate old music and we don't have something to listen to anymore. Because it's two things. There's the listening, that's the music creation. You understand? So except it gets to a point where every new song that comes out is going to be AI, and they're going to exterminate every old song that sounded nice. But so long as we'll still have a library of good music, no one is going to listen to AI, man. AI songs will have the least streams online. Yeah.
So in essence, you agree with his assertion that it can never replace musicians?
I wouldn't say never. I would just say it can't. Never is a strong word. Never sounds like war.
Sometimes you got to be ready for war.
Right.
Love,
Nicely put, Fasil.
I wanted to make a comment. Like, I do agree with you, Fasil, and I look at music from a different perspective, right? Like, I understand it in relation to the creation side. I look at music as an energy side, right? Like, I feel like people listen to music to be uplifted. They listen to music like when they're sad, for comfort. There's a song for like every occasion, you know? And I feel like the app that you described, speaking a few words and it creating a song, yeah, that can create a catchy song with melodies and auto tune that people can dance to. But after they dance to it, what's next? They're just gonna throw it away. It's gonna be discarded, you know? What connection, what energy is keeping you to that? The reason why I feel like music from back in the day, we continue to play because it's nostalgic, you know. Some of those songs remind us of a certain time, a certain person, you know what I mean? Like, and you feel the energy of what the musician was going through. You feel the energy from the musicians playing the instruments. So for me, like music, and for many others, music is a living, breathing thing. It's energy. That's why you can put on some of the songs from decades ago and you can play it today, right now, and it sounds like it's brand new, like it just came out, because of the energy that is encapsulated in it. I feel like a lot of the music that is created today is created so quick that energy doesn't have a time to really to develop itself. You know, that's where the artist development comes in. You know, sometimes you can write a song now, right? And you can record it and you can put it down and come back to it in a month or 2 months from now and re-record the same song, and it sounds so different based upon the experiences that you've gone through in those 2 months, the amount of times you've rehearsed it, whether you want to change a few words, you know? And then think about people then that remix songs that came out decades before, how that has a new sound, a new flair to it. So music is living and breathing. So now to give this to a computer, yeah, it can create it maybe a lot more efficiently, you know what I mean? And maybe put all the bells and whistles in. But the energy for me from AI is dead. Like, I can hear an AI song and yeah, it sounds catchy, but it's dead. There's no energy there. There's no living energy in it. So that's why I feel like it will never completely take over the music world, because as long as it's human beings, you know what I mean? And that's how we connect. They can't eradicate what allows us to connect to one another. So that's my stance on the matter.
You know, I think you're right. And I think what you're talking about, TYB, is I don't think it'll ever take over, because when it comes to things like making movies and, say, the movie themes, the greats like John Williams, who's just an incredible songwriter for movies, I don't think you're ever going to see an AI being able to write out all the sheet music for it, give it to all the musicians to make it sound like it goes with each section of a movie. We're talking, this is fairly intricate here, and I just don't see that happening anytime soon, where you're going to be able to replace a John Williams. I mean, think about some of the themes he's done, and you know that it's just of movies. And to me, that in itself, they have spots where something has to happen in an exact pinpoint time, and I don't know how you're going to get an AI to pull that all together like a composer can do. But my thought on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Fazil.
Okay, so with the current rising digital trends and the fact that content is so big these days, you all would agree that when an artist creates a fan base, I think majority of that fan base is not only concerned with how the artist sings, but they're also a bit interested in the lifestyle, the personality of that artist, because we feed on content. So there's no lifestyle to that AI. There's no heartbeat to it. There's no personality to it. Exactly. So after listening, I can't really put a name. I can't put a complexion. You know, I can't even put a sex to it these days, because you know, a guy could be a girl, a girl could be a guy. So even if AI is masculine, I can't totally put a sex to that. So it kills the entirety of what I'm to benefit from loving music. Because I love music, the next thing I want to know more about this artist. I want to understand his struggles, his stories, you know, what led to him writing the song, that kind of thing. It makes me anticipate more songs. It makes me even kind of put myself in his shoes and be like, I've faced something like this. No wonder I felt that way when I heard it and all that. So there's no life to AI. That's the thing. So it's just going to be, you know, listen and dump.
But coming to look at it too, yeah, I agree with you. But once you create it, if I create it, I put my name on it. I mean, to it. So you'll be able to assign my name there, even though I may not like it.
There's two of you. There's two of you, so it's still dicey.
That's right. It is.
Still
And
dicey.
yeah, to Petra, one more question before. It says, will artists lose jobs because of AI? And this is what somebody has written. He says, given the high quality of AI-produced artwork, many illustrators are losing their jobs to AI image generators, such as Stable Diffusion and DALL E2. The gaming industry's job was already precarious after the Chinese government's licensing freeze in 2021 threw thousands of game developers out of business. So, looking at it, producers, publishers, what is in store? What are we looking at?
Okay, so if I'm to quickly answer, aside music, I'm a professional media personnel. I run an advertising agency, and the truth is, I've caught on to a lot of tools, digital tools that are today called AI. But before I caught on to that, I had to learn the hard way. Meaning, I started from, editing videos with a laptop that when there's no power supply, you lose the entire video. So that's where I'm coming from. So my point is, having to come from that struggle, you learn a lot and you get efficient. So when there's AI, I think, like I spoke with a friend of mine that's into tech, and he told me hands-on that, AI is not going to take his job. Instead, he's going to get better at his job with AI. So, I must have mentioned that before, that it should be a learning curve. AI should be a tool to make you a better person as regards your skill. So if I could make a beat in 20 minutes, AI should make me make that beat in same 20 minutes, but with something better. I don't want to necessarily say 15 or 10 minutes. I don't want to bring in the time factor, because there are other factors, but it should be more presentable, I would say, to whoever the client is and all that. So if illustrators would lose their jobs because there's a lot of AI generators out there for images and all that, it's you bringing in what you've always had, and mixing it with what AI brings to the table. Because let's be honest, it's two powers here. There's AI, there's human. So haven't people thought about mixing it? I don't know what that's going to be called, but let's consider mixing it, and I believe it's going to be something awesome. Yeah.
So they call it transhumanism when they combine AI and humans.
What's it called?
Transhumanism. Yeah, that's why they want to stick Neuralinks on all our heads and stuff, and give us robotic arms and stuff.
Yeah, so I work with a couple tools that are powered by AI. It makes my job a lot better. But what's going to differentiate me from someone that just focuses on just the AI is the fact that you can tell it's done by a human. You can see my struggles and my journey in it. That's my point. I'm going to definitely have a twist, a curve, compared to someone that just focuses on the entire AI, and there's no human aspect of you in that creativity and that skill. So that's it.
Yeah, I wanted to jump on what you're saying too for Seal, because and it kind of relates back to the point you made earlier about how artists differentiate themselves with the music. Because if you have like 10 artists that are all exceptionally good in the same genre, how are you going to decide which one is going to be your artist? And that's going to be how you as a person connect to that artist. You know what I mean? So I think that's the same when it comes to AI, like you said, because I'm also in marketing. I have an agency. So like you, I also have tools that really allow my job to be a lot more efficient, But one thing I do like to promote is the humanistic aspect of it, People don't really like to deal with automations and like all this technical stuff as much as these major corporations would like us to believe, right? Because I feel it's their agenda, like AI and all that stuff. it makes it easier for businesses, and because we have businesses or in business, it makes it easier for us. But for the people on the other end, the customers, the clients, not necessarily. Not everybody wants to call and get like an automated voice, and go through like 10 automations to get to a human being. And there's some of them that don't even have customer service. It's literally a 24-hour live chat, and you can't talk to a person. You know how frustrating that is? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I think yeah.
You know what I mean? Exactly. So it's like at some point, it's like we know that going all the way AI, all the way technical, or technological isn't the answer. We already know that's what it is. So at some point, it has to retain some level of humanism, because that's what allows us to connect. So back to your point, TYB, and also to emphasize Fasil and Ron, I do feel like AI is gonna only enhance what it is that we're doing in the music. I don't think, again, because it's music, I don't think it's going to take over the music industry. I do feel like it is going to allow people, it's going to give people a bit of a run for their money in a sense, but it's going to allow people to be better producers, better artists, because now you're not just competing with another person, you're competing with a computer. It's like when you play chess and you're playing chess against the computer. If you can beat the computer, you're really good. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Now we have to do that in music. Just step up a level, get better.
Yeah.
There's I was going to say there's a group last week I was talking about the week before that was using AI for their video, and you know what? They have a song out, but do I even remember the K-pop group's name or the name of the song? Nope, I don't remember. I sort of remember the video because it was all geared around AI. But was the song memorable? No. Was the video all that memorable? No, not really. I have no idea what the song was even called. I'd have to look up online to find out where it was on my history list, because that's how memorable it was. So the song in itself, we go to the music here, and this song to me is what's important. And if I don't even remember the song, what does that say? Who cares what the video looks like, the audio, the visual part of it? Yeah. I mean, it's got to be the music that counts.
Yeah.
So.
I just got a text from a listener, and it says, should I quit being an artist because of AI?
Never. No.
Okay.
Never. Ever. No.
See, there will be people who will prefer art from a real human being from a computer, even if the human one is a lot worse. Final point is that AI will not go away. There are many benefits, whether you like it or not. You see, we shouldn't be focusing on getting rid of it, but instead working with it, accepting that it has become part of our lives.
Yeah, I agree. It will never take away humans.
Yeah. So let me quickly say, no, this might appeal more to the younger generation. I'm still young though. No video game was ever made with the intention for players to not get to the last stage or to not win the computer when competing with the computer. A lot of people win the computer when competing. It might take days, it might take months, but at some point you win the computer. At some point you get to the last stage. It could be 10 stages, and all that. But that joy that comes when you get to that point, it looks like you've really overcome this what we call AI today, this roadblock that seemed like this is a whole lot, how can I compete against this and win this? So I think AI was created to be used by humans, not the other way around. So that means humans would always come first. Humans would always come first. Now, as an intelligent person, does AI come into your life and you throw away your intelligence? No. So let's say I'm the best student in my class and we have to write exams, and because via AI I could have better learning when I'm doing my homework and all that. Does that mean I should dump my intelligence and focus on just AI? Then I'm going to be like every other student that's not intelligent that focused on just AI.
Exactly.
So that's it. Efficiency is the word. How do you use it? That's what makes you stand out.
Good point. Yeah. Can you imagine playing a video game and knowing that AI is in charge and you'll never win?
That game wouldn't sell.
I know exactly my point. Yeah, exactly.
wouldn't say.
No, you're right. So there has to be a point where humans feel satisfaction from it. And I think that's a good point. And do you want to ever go see a doctor who's saying, "Excuse me, I have to type this all in and check with AI to see what your symptoms are bringing on"? I sure wouldn't want to. I'd be going, "Hopefully, doctor, you've studied enough." As you're saying, Facil, is like, I hope you've studied your stuff and you know your stuff, because I sure don't want to see if you're relying on a computer. Because I actually went online and looked at all the symptoms I had for something, and AI ended up being totally wrong. I went to a doctor, a specialist, and he said, "No, I can tell right away you don't have that. You do not have that situation," which is something called it was with my ear, and he said, "No, it's a nerve problem. You don't have something that will end up taking your life away." He said, "I can tell right now." And I'm going, thank goodness this doctor isn't relying like I did. I just looked at the symptoms before speaking to my family doctor. And he was worried about it. He goes, "Yeah, you've got a lot of those symptoms." And he says, "Well, we'll send you to a specialist." The specialist knew right away, instantly. He said, "Nope, I know what this is." And it was that simple. So if we're relying on AI for every situation, humans are going to be in a sad state.
Yeah. We've been discussing a lot, Petra. We've been discussing a lot about AI, but the story has just begun, because we don't know where we're going as artists. We really don't know. We don't have any inkling as to where we are going to be going. But then I'm looking at the fact that, we've been discussing this. I think we may continue this conversation in the green room, and where we'll be inviting some listeners who have logged onto the program right now. Ola Global, and then Prince Damien join us in the green room as we discuss this great topic. We have a lot more to discuss, because you see, on this program there's so many things that we have to discuss in the world of entertainment. There's so much things that we don't discuss. Sometimes we hit it, we miss, we go in forward, we come back. What I wanted to say was something that has been going on social media about a statement that was made by the legend Buju Banton about Afrobeat music. And he said, he's allegedly have said that Afrobeat music has got, I'm not quoting it verbatim, that it doesn't inspire the youth. It's got vulgarities and stuff like that. And people have been upset about it. And there's a pros and cons about it. But when it comes to this, there's nothing like pros and cons. We have to look at it from different angles. And I think we will continue with this discussion in the green room. And thank you, Petra, for hosting this program with Facil and everybody who's listening to us and viewing us. Hey, share the radio station with your friends and your friends. You see the share and like button there. Hey, like the channel, share it, and then join us every Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we come here to have discussions with publishers, artists, what have you, in the music industry. On behalf of myself, DJ TyB, Facil, Petra, Ron, hey, thank you for joining us today. And
thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
You're invited to come back every time, because you are part of the family. Yes, every time. We know when we call on you, you are always there. We appreciate you, folks.
Thank you.
Take care of yourselves and each other. We hope to meet with you again. Facil, don't go away. We're going into the green room.
All right.
We'll be right back. Folks, thank you for joining with us today. Take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.